Welcome to part 2 of the mortgage journey for first-time buyers. In part 1, we took you from the very start, where you were building your credit history, getting a credit report checked by a mortgage broker, finding your mortgage broker, all the initial steps. And in part 2, we're going to go from finding the property and having an offer accepted, right through to making an application, mortgage offer, completion, etc. and the next steps. So now that you have an offer accepted on the property, you obviously have to let your mortgage broker know. Then the next step in the mortgage process is what's called a fact find. Now you can do this, it depends on the mortgage broker and their firm. You may have to do this with the broker over the phone or via Zoom, or you may be able to do it online yourself. It's essentially just gathering more information about you, so more details about your address history, more details about your employment, so where you work, contact number, things like that. They'll be gathering estate agent details, solicitor details if the mortgage broker isn't arranging that for you. Also at this stage, it's really important that the mortgage broker is just breaking down the mortgage and what you really want. Things like the term of the mortgage and how long you want to be tied into the product, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, etc. At this point, it's just really gathering all the information the mortgage broker needs to be able to make what's called a recommendation. So the fact finder is a vitally important step. Gather all the information they need to go on to the next stage, which is the recommendation. Once the mortgage broker has completed the fact find review, gathered all the information they need to select the best lender and the best product for you, they'll do what's called a recommendation, which is where they go through why the lender was selected and why any of the lenders were discounted, what the interest rate is, what the loan amount is, what your monthly repayments will be. They'll discuss any fees due, so whether these fees will be due up front or whether they can be added to the loan. So for example, valuation fees need to be paid up front, but product fees can sometimes be added to the loan. Obviously, if you do that, it will accrue interest and make your monthly payments a little bit higher. So you want to talk to your broker about what's best to do here. They'll talk about early repayment charges, whether you repay your mortgage early or not, and what you would have to pay, and just go through all this vital information with you so you're fully aware of the mortgage and what your payments will be. At the end of this call, they'll just check your understanding, make sure that you're okay with that and that you're happy to proceed. That's the recommendation, that's the next step. Once the recommendation has been made, the next major step is for the mortgage broker to submit your application. Before they do that, if they have any initial fees that need to be paid by you, then obviously that will have to be done before they'll make the application. Once they do submit the application, they will upload all initial supporting documentation. So that's typically basic things like payslips and bank statements. Once those documents have been checked and the application itself has been checked, the lender will let your mortgage broker know if any additional documentation is required. And if they don't have that, then obviously they will let you know and ask for that from you, and that will have to be uploaded and be checked. In terms of the valuation itself, this will either be instructed at the point of application, depends on the lender, or some will wait until an initial underwriting has been carried out on the application, just checking that everything matches up, checking the income, checking the application through, and once that's all been approved, then they will submit the valuation. Once all your documentation has been checked and it's all approved and the application itself is all approved and the case has been approved, then once you've got that all done, then you will get your mortgage offer. Now, it's often at this stage, once you've got the mortgage offer, that the broker will introduce insurance. So if you're buying as a couple, they'll typically discuss life insurance. But if the mortgage broker is doing a thorough job with your insurance, then they'll also be discussing income protection with you, critical illness cover, and if you have children, family income benefit as well. The reason why is simply because this is a large debt that is being arranged for you, and it's really important that that debt and you are protected. If you can't work, then obviously you're going to struggle to pay your bills, including your mortgage. If one of you dies, then the surviving spouse will likely want the mortgage paid off, and you want your family to be financially secure if anything happens to either of you. So it's really important that you are having a discussion about insurance, whether it is with your mortgage broker or whether they work with another firm to do that. It's really important that you have that conversation. The only insurance you do need to complete on a mortgage is buildings insurance. That you will have to get arranged and it has to be approved by the lender. But really you need to be thinking about life insurance, income protection, things like that. Just really to make sure that you keep the roof over your head. So now that you've got your mortgage offer and you've had a discussion about insurance, just to touch on that very quickly, if your mortgage broker does not introduce insurance, does not talk about it, then you really need to be making sure you talk to someone that can help you on that. You've got your mortgage offer, so now it goes to the completion stage, which is where it's been dealt with by the solicitors. The mortgage broker, to be very honest with you, is not really going to be as prevalent and around as much at this stage. Now, of course, if you have any issues, then the mortgage broker should be helping you get in touch with the solicitor, seeing what's going on, but it is predominantly dealt with by them. Now, purchases take quite a while typically to complete. So there may be times where you don't hear from your solicitor for a number of weeks. That doesn't mean you have to panic. Things just can take time. So often you may hear from solicitors that they're raising inquiries, waiting for responses. That's basically back and forth communication between your solicitors and the sellers. They may be carrying out searches. There's numerous searches to be carried out on the property, and these can take a number of weeks to come back. So don't panic and try not to worry too much. I know it is difficult when you're a first time buyer and you're buying a property. If you don't hear from your solicitor, that can be okay. But you're more than welcome to contact them to try and get an answer, try and get an update. But these things can take time. You still do, though, have your mortgage brokers, even though you won't hear from them as much, and you obviously there's not really that much for them to do at this point. They are still there to support you and help you. So please just remember that you do not be an island. Don't be alone. If you are struggling with your solicitors, make sure you are speaking up about it. As you get towards the end of the conveyancing stage, you're working with your solicitors. They will agree a time with you where you can exchange contracts and you become legally responsible for the property. At this stage, any life insurance really needs to be live because you are responsible for the home. And then they will agree a time for completion. Now, when you come to completion, it's the best time where you actually pick up the keys to your home. It's just worth checking at this point whether any further fees are due to your mortgage broker, and any other fees you may have to think about moving fees now, paying a company to move or anything like that. But yeah, now you have the keys to your home. So we've gone from the very start where you've had to build your credit history up, get a credit report, find a broker, all the initial steps for a mortgage. And now you finally have the keys to your home. What happens next? Well, in truth, what happens next is you enjoy your home. So as long as your insurance is in place and you know what your first payment is going to be, bear in mind that first mortgage payment might be a little bit higher because of the interest from the point you complete until the date of the first payment. So make sure you've got a little bit extra saved in case your first payment is going to be higher. But really, you're not going to be talking to your mortgage broker a lot until the time comes when you need to remortgage. Your mortgage broker may arrange with you annual reviews for your insurance, which is a really good thing to make sure that it's still fit for purpose. So for example, if you've had a major pay rise, you may want to increase your income protection amount. But otherwise, enjoy your home. So that's it. That's your journey for first time buyers. It's an amazing thing as a first time buyer, buying your first home, and enjoy it. Now, if you feel I've missed anything out, or if you're not sure, if you want me to go into more detail about anything, then please feel free to comment below, and I'm more than happy to go through with you or make a video about it. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon.